I thought his thing was one-armed lollygag, which we should bring that back.
It might have been one-armed lollygag. Yeah, we can always ping tension to see if he'll do something for free, as long as it's not sexual. And then I'll forcibly change his avatar to that. If I can. I'm pretty sure I can apply it.
Oh my god. Someone finally picked up a Silver Edge. I just watched Bristleback be removed from the video game.
Alright. So,
satisfying on a
ladies
deep
and
emotional
gentlemen,
level.
let us begin the night. It's just me, Shadow, and you tonight, Atin. Just me, Shadow, and you.
Oh, that's gonna be a show.
It's gonna be a show, yes.
You know what, Sneaky?
Yep.
Let's spin the wheel of Warhammer. What garbage do we have from the Warhammer section tonight?
Shadow, do you know Warhammer?
Anyway, is my mic volume better?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, do you know Warhammer?
Very limited. You know, I think I did, collected 3rd edition Tyranids back in that.
I see.
Back in those
You're
days.
a bad person.
Yes. Yeah, as I was saying, this is Fanfiction of the 9005. I'm your host, SneakyDevil. This is episode 52. Small party today. Max is going to be gone the entire time. He's never going to show up because his mother is having her birthday today, so that's a understandable reason not to appear.
Wait, I'm sorry, what did you say?
His mother's having her birthday today, so
yes.
Max is not going to be showing up. Yeah. Anyway, let's go. I really don't think we're gonna find anything good in the Warhammer section that any of us are gonna really freak out about.
Yeah, but sometimes you get sometimes you get some real fresh hot trash.
It's under games, right?
I think?
Yeah, it's under games.
But I don't know if that only gets you, like, Space Marine.
I mean, I don't think we can always check books, but I'm pretty sure there's gonna be nothing there. War and Peace, War and Remembrance, War Breakers, War of the Worlds, War Prisoners, Warriors. Yeah, no, Warhammer's not here, so it is only under games. Language English. Only 141 stories. All right.
Honestly, probably a blessing.
Probably a blessing indeed. Well, let's see what we got here. We got a rated K Warhammer story. So it's a crappy Warhammer story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exitus Ultima. When the life of their Primarch is put in danger, the Storm Heralds must face peril to save him. Old enemies unite, and the fate of the galaxy hangs in the balance as Space Marines fight to preserve everything they hold dear. But what price must they pay before it is done? Read the Storm Herald's epic conclusion.
Wait. Epic conclusion?
Written by Matt Who. Oh,
Who?
sweet Jesus. Oh. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Have we discovered Matt Ward's fanfiction?
There is 44 Warhammer stories on this guy's written list. And a majority of them have at minimum 100k words. He has got like a 44 book series about his OC chapter called The Storm Heralds.
I mean, I respect the dedication. Maybe the
Yeah.
Spag's okay? Look, I got nothing, man.
Yeah, the Dark Imperium. Oh,
Isn't that just the normal Imperium?
No,
apparently not.
no.
This is the Dark Imperium. In the times of the Dark Imperium, a new brotherhood arises, fighting the forgotten reaches of the galaxy. Fresh and newborn, they must walk the perilous line between honor and survival, and the decision as to whether they shall be known for their nobility or callousness has yet to be determined. This is the story of the Amber Viper chapter.
Fuck that.
It's a 600,000 word story. 273 chapters. Want to know something really depressing?
What?
76 favorites.
Oh, like that. Ugh.
Is that unusual for the section?
Well, let's see what the most favorited Warhammer story is. Sort by favorites. The most favorited Warhammer story in this section is 1,700. Followed by 1,600, 1,400, 1,200, 1,200. So, I mean, yeah, around 1,000 gets you in the top. The average is around.
Yeah, wow. I guess
600.
all the good Warhammer 40k stories are just on space battles.
Yeah. I mean, why is that surprising? Come on. Why is
I'm not saying it's surprising.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, that's where they are.
Yeah, honestly, it's really unfortunate. I just wish there was like a better way to archive all the fan fiction so I could actually read it in an easy manner. Because Space Battles archiving is just non-existent because it's not supposed to be a fiction publishing website. Which yeah. Dead story, finished story, but it's a Horus Heresy.
Well, being
Dead
dead is kind of in keeping with the universe.
Fair, I guess. Finished story, dead 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 story, finished story. Oh, Jesus. It's freaking weird, right? So I actually found a story that I can not remember the name of. I don't remember where I read it, and I can't remember almost any of the story except the premise was weird enough to make me interested in it, I guess you could say. Where I kind of read the first chapter and was like, okay. All right, yeah, sure, let's do it. The premise was an Inquisitor shows up on a awakening tomb world, and they wake up the Necron Lord, who was like the head Necron Lord, who was entombed on this tomb world.
Okay, so Cesrax, or not Cesrax, the Silent King.
No, I mean like the highest.
Oh, he was the Tomb World's head tomb.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah. Also, it was a she, because what's about to happen will kind of
I
make
mean,
that
there
less
are
awkward.
some female.
Yeah, well, it's kind of relevant to what's about to happen. So, the female Inquisitor wakes up the female Tomb Guardian Lord thing. And, understandably, the female Inquisitor, I believe, was of Ortis, did not negotiate with the Necron Lord. I'll let that sink in, as you're no doubt shocked about this.
What do you say? Generally, the
information.
Inquisition doesn't negotiate.
Yeah. The Necron Lord wasn't negotiating for her life. She was negotiating a reward to give to the Imperium for waking her up. Because something, she was betrayed by the other Necron Lords because, blah, 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 whatever.
Again, pretty standard Necron stuff, honestly.
Yeah, so she was like, hey, thanks for, breaking the seal on my tomb. I'm gonna let you all live, and I'll give you an extra reward for doing this. And, of course, being both a woman and part of Ordo Malice, the Inquisitor decided that getting rewarded by a Necron Lord was actually an insult, and they should fight to the death on her now awake tomb world.
I see.
All of the guardsmen died. Very quickly. As the Necron Lord killed everyone but a single guardsman and the Inquisitor. And the single guardsman that she didn't kill him because he didn't fire a single shot at her and actually hid when the Inquisitor started mouthing off to the Necron Lord in the middle of an awakened tomb world. And he was like, fuck this shit, I'm out. And the Necron...
So he actually had a brain.
Yeah, the Necron Lord was like, hey, look, I appreciate it that you're not retarded. So I'm gonna do this and you're gonna help me.
So I'll give you the reward.
Yeah, and he's like, what do you mean? What are you gonna do now? And she proceeds to phase inside of the Inquisitor and possess her.
They haven't heard of that one, but continue.
Which is why I was like, alright, weird, but go on.
Weird fetish, but alright.
Please don't call... Oh, God. Please... Oh,
come on. You know there's a...
Let's be honest, Sneaky. It's not the worst you've heard.
I know it's not the worst I've heard.
There's a Necron who's into explicitly that with their Lich Guards.
No. Anyway, so as I was saying, phases into her and possesses her, something about, replacing her nerves or some shit, or, it's been a long time. And so now that she's in control of the Inquisitor's body and is basically using her brain as a book, but, like a book in a different language with half the pages missing because, fried
brain
nerves and brain damage, yeah. The Necron Lord turned Inquisitor is like, okay, so now what do I do? And the Imperial Guardsman's like, what do you mean now what do you do? She's like, well, you see, the whole reason why I possessed her is because she is a leader, and I need to go undercover to make sure that none of the other Necron Lords know that I woke up until I can actually get enough forces built up to fight back and defend myself, because otherwise they'll all come back and kick the shit out of me again. And the Guardsman, in a sheer move of brass balls the size of a wheelbarrow, is like, I see! Well, you see, the Inquisitor you have taken over, she is someone who is, dedicated to safeguarding humanity, and she goes around making sure humanity is safe.
I mean, technically correct.
And basically just flat out lies to the Necron Lord about what the Inquisitor does. As in, what they're supposed to do. Not what she actually did. And it's just like, the entire time, the guards were just like, holy shit, if this works, we actually have a Necron Lord helping the Imperium now. This plan is insane, but it just might work. But yeah, that's the premise of the story, is basically this Inquisitor going around being puppeted by a Necron Lord who is being lied to by an Imperial Guardsman about what she's supposed to do as an Inquisitor for humanity. And I was like, oh, that's a really comedic sounding premise of a story.
Yes.
And like I said, I don't remember the name. I don't remember if there was any more. Like, it was one of those things, like, way back in the day before I had a fanfiction account, where I would, like, save it to, like, a Google, like, I would email myself the link.
Huh.
Yeah, like, back in that day, so, like, 2006 or 7-ish. So yeah, you can understand why I might have lost it.
Yes.
This one. So apparently, there's been like a resurgence recently in 30K stories, which I kind of get,
30K.
but it's like I'm not a huge fan of it.
I mean, I guess they did just launch the Horus Heresy box. Maybe that's it.
That's probably it. A romance drama story of 60 chapters and 360k words. Yeah, pass. This is one of the best stories. This is the front page of the best stories of Warhammer. Whew. Romance adventure story between an Imperial Guardsman and an Eldar of a craft world.
Okay, so that sounds like a really bad version of the one where I can't think.
Can you
Vindicare assassin falls for an Eldar Farseer.
That one actually sounds pretty funny.
No, it's not funny. So basically, it takes the end cutscene from the end of Dawn of War 2, where what's her face is like surrounded and about to be captured. And the Vindicare had been sent to assassinate her, and he'd watched her this entire time, and he's like, I can't just let the Imperium kill you. Right? And he'd been in the field for like months. So he hadn't been right. So he hadn't had any fresh indoctrination. So he was starting to do the thing that the Imperium doesn't like, which is have Vindicare think for themselves. Well, any of the assassins think for themselves.
Yeah.
And so he ices the patrol of guardsmen sent to take him out, and the Farseer, like, credit to whoever wrote it. There's a whole part of the fight where the Farseer is just confused as fuck because wait, what? Why is the timeline all changing? I'm not going to die here.
Fair.
But
yeah,
I forget what it's
this
called.
This is
but
an
like
epic journey of love,
written.
hope, despair, and death. Extremely graphic, adult themes.
Listen, the only thing graphic about the Eldar is Hail of Doom shuriken runs.
I just, honestly, Warhammer stories just really aren't that interesting.
No.
Like,
unless you get right. Here's the thing. The most interesting Warhammer stories, 40k or fantasy, are the ones where you do what you've always been supposed to do with 40k,
Ignore it.
which is, I mean, yes, kind of like you take your thing and you just go, right. There's all this stuff happening over there.
More DACA.
But I'm going to tell my story about my dudes now.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing. It's one of those scenarios where it's like, I actually watched this recently about how everyone misunderstands Superman, and how all of the Superman spin-offs clearly show that while the author was inspired by Superman, they didn't understand Superman, because a lot of the Superman inspired stuff is like, well, it's Superman, but what if he's an asshole? And it's like, yeah, but the point of Superman is Superman, but what if he's not an asshole?
Yeah, here's the thing. There are some that are like, okay, like for instance, The Boys is interesting because it's not just Superman is an asshole, it's literally every superhero is an asshole.
Right, but that's not so much of a commentary on superheroes. The Boys is more of a commentary on the decay of social media and the cancerous nature of celebrity status.
Yes.
Like
Among several other things. Like The Boys is of like 7 things, but yeah, those are 2 of the big ones.
yeah, so I'm more talking about people who think they're the next Watchmen.
People
You know what?
who read Watchmen but missed
You
the
know what?
point.
I'm gonna
Right.
come out and say it.
Yeah.
Watchmen is not that fucking good.
No, it's not. But it also wasn't supposed to be.
Yes, it was.
No, because the guy behind it, I forget his name. I'm blanking on his name right now.
Alan Moore. Listen, Alan Moore is the whiniest, whingiest, most edgy fucking writer in existence.
I don't know, man. He had some good plots with some other heroes before, and like a lot of people, like the stories that I see ape the most from Superman and Watchmen were Alan Moore stories when he wrote Superman and other heroes. Like, people ape those stories the most. And people ape Watchmen the most when they're trying to come up with their new, totally new take on the superhero genre. They all ape Alan Moore stories. Say what you will about the man himself. The content he produced inspired a generation, and whether that's good or bad, we can certainly debate on that, but it is what it is, and it did what it did. But that's the thing, though, is Warhammer is another one of those scenarios where a majority of people that enjoy Warhammer and want to produce content for Warhammer in the form of fan fiction didn't understand what Warhammer was. Like, they didn't understand what about Warhammer made them like Warhammer. And so when they try to reproduce that, they just end up reproducing all of it, and the all of it isn't what made people interested in Warhammer. People are interested in the stories about Creed, in the stories about, fucking Sicarius, like people are interested in the individual hero in this spanning universe of grim darkness. They're not interested in the grim darkness. Like, the grim darkness is boring, generic shit that we've had for literally generations, ever since we even thought of sci-fi stories all the way back in the 1800s. We've had the grim darkness of the far future.
Yeah.
But that's not the interesting bit. The interesting bit is the light that shines in the darkness, and so many people just completely miss that.
Yeah. Yes. The entire point of it is, why do we care about it? Because we're focused on one guy or one person's bright light in whatever the darkness, whether it's a human, an Eldar, or like, you know what? The Farseer books are actually pretty interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it's also this is a series that I know you remember, at least, Atin. The Shadow Templar series. For StarCraft?
Oh yes. I read those. Those were great.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. And part
Weird
of what
as
made
okay.
totally
The first
weird.
book was weird as hell.
Oh yeah, absolutely, but it was kind of supposed to be. But what made that series so good was that you knew what was going to happen to the main character in the end.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. He either dies or nearly dies. I think he got saved by bullshit right at the end, but he was supposed to die. And the second you I think it's like maybe even a third into the first book, you're supposed to basically go, oh shit, he's gonna die.
Yeah.
And
I see. He's just going to die.
yeah, and you're like, oh shit, and like the whole point of the book is that this character, who also comes to accept that he's going to die because of what he's doing, still stands on his principles and keeps doing it knowing that it's going to kill him.
Because it's what he thinks the right thing to do is.
Yeah. Like, that's what made the series cool and good. And yes, ultimately it does work out because power of friendship, effectively, right at the end, but...
Yeah, I mean, he does, but, like, he doesn't come out of it great. Like,
oh yeah,
the prize is being alive.
Yeah.
It's not being alive well.
And so it's like... That's what made that series cool. Because it's just like, ah, fuck. It's an inspirational story of a hero. The fucking shit you see these days, though, it's all... I was actually complaining to my father about this. The shit you see these days, it's just drivel. It's... I went into Barnes & Noble, and I looked at the published shit, and it was all just drivel. There was no moral lessons being taught. There was no ethics or principles. There was no... hero's journey, even. There was maybe a bastardized hero's journey by some fucking retard who doesn't understand what the hero's journey really means, and they're just kind of aping what they remember from, like, Harry Potter and Star Wars. The hero starts out weak and then they get really strong because they're super special. That's what the hero's journey is, right?
I would say if you want to see a great example of, well, two excellent examples of the hero's journey in Star Wars is just the entirety of the Jedi Knight series. Like, first Kyle Katarn, which, by the way, good lord, did they actually manage to put growth and, like, a character into Kyle Katarn. And then his apprentice, Jaden Core, just starts out as a fairly average Force user, but he just happens to go through some incredibly dangerous shit and then becomes really good at being a Force user because it's that or die.
Yeah, which a lot of people seem to miss. But point being is that, like, I actually feel really bad for the future generations, like my little brother's generation, because those are the books they have access to. God forbid they even sit down to read. But if they ever do sit down to read, this is what they have access to. This is what's the big, the new, the popular, right? And it was all just drivel. It was all, I'm a special snowflake, and I'm more special and unique than everyone else, which means my story is more important than everyone else's, because everyone hates me, but I'm too good for everyone. That was the premise of almost every fiction story I saw in Barnes & Noble on the big sellers.
Yeah.
There was, like, holy shit, like, some of the, like, I make fun of YA, but back in the day, I read a series called Pretties, Uglies, and Specials. And boy, was it YA trash for my generation. Because inside that series...
Oh, I remember that story.
Yeah, but inside that series, it was a commentary on consumerism, it was a commentary on chasing trends, it was a commentary on realizing what really matters in your life. Like, it actually had good shit built into it. I couldn't tell you any of the plot of those stories anymore. I couldn't tell you the characters' names, any of the events that happened in the stories, but I certainly remembered the commentary on it, what they was talking about.
All I remember is that the books exist. I never read them because I looked at the back and I was like, no.
Yeah, I don't blame you. It was during my more desperate times when I was starting to run out of content to read. And I was like, okay, you know what? This simple name shit, it's calling out to me. This has got to be something good going on here. And it actually was a decent premise. It was, main character was poor, and so she didn't have the money to chase after the gene mods and body modifications that were trendy at the time. And the pretties were the tier 2, and they got their parents were super rich, and so they got to set the trends of what kind of body modifications were cool at the time. And the specials were a hidden higher tier who got government, special secret body modifications.
They were special enough.
Yeah. And so the whole arc of the series was the main character going from an ugly to a pretty to a special, and then kind of like learning lessons along the way about not letting herself be consumed by trends and what other people think is popular, and not letting what society dictates your place is keep you there, and like actually good shit. But I couldn't remember the story for my fucking life.
I'm trying to think. You know what else was good for like the first 4 books? 5 books? Ranger's Apprentice.
Yes. Yep.
I felt like the author had a solid plan up until like book 5, and then he ran out of he finished his story, but it was hot and he liked money.
Ranger's Apprentice, Aragon, and Percy Jackson all came out in the same time frame, and they all suffered from the same problem of new authors who were doing a new book series, and that book series got really popular around the second...
Let's be clear. They had a firm plan in mind.
Right, yeah, they had a firm plan in mind for their first book, but the first book didn't get popular. It was the second book when the series got popular. Or the third for, I think it was Ranger's Apprentice. And that's when the series got popular, and so when they originally were going to end it...
The first 2 books did just well enough.
Eldest for Aragon did really good. Really fucking good.
Right. One of the whichever books were there before it got hot.
The middle part of the series, effectively, for each.
Yeah.
The starter didn't make a splash. The middle is when it really kicked off for the series, respectively. And it was near the end, the planned end of each series, that the author was like, holy shit, I'm actually making a lot of fucking money. Can I keep this going? But then the problem came is that they had only planned to go X far. And when they got past going X far, it really became apparent how little they continued to plan past their original plan. Which is to say, barely. Brissinger was a fucking mess.
Whew, yeah.
The Rick Riordan dropped the ball massively after the third triplet series.
Yeah.
It's really unfortunate, but it's understandable on one hand, because it's like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to tell you that you shouldn't earn money because what you're doing is earning you money. But on the other hand, I will say that you should maybe just let good things lie.
Well, right, here's the thing. End it strong and then write something new. Right?
Yeah, true. What's it, Jim Butcher, I think his name is?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, all right, did these 5 books, did these 3 books, boom, done, moving on, new series, let's go.
Right. The only thing that Jim Butcher's done consistently has been Harry Dresden, and like the gaps between Harry Dresden have been such that, especially
But
like when he shifts it tonally, like
well, that
re-
yeah.
like
Also, Harry Dresden's a character action story.
yes,
It,
but like
yeah.
if you go read Harry Dresden book 1
Oh yeah, no, massive tone shifts. Yeah.
and go to Harry Dresden book, right, like even go to Harry Dresden like book 7.
Yeah. No, I had a roommate
God
who was
forbid you
obsessed
go
with Dresden series.
from Dresden Files book 1 to like I think it's 11 or whatever.
It's like 15 now or something.
How many books are there?
There's quite a number of them now.
Oh god, yeah, we're at 17.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Because back in college, my roommate was talking about book 14.
Yeah.
But with Harry Dresden, like I said, that's a character action story where it doesn't follow the world and it's not trying to teach lessons. It's following this character in this world I've created. What does this character do now? What does this character do now? What's he doing now? What happens now because of what this character has done? That's the Harry Dresden series, and that's how you write it. The Dresden series follows the same format as the Drizzt series, and where there is no overarching plot or lesson or full circle morals, ethics, lesson being taught here. Because that's what Aragon was supposed to be. Is what you start will finish you, stuff like that. One good turn deserves another, that sort of shit. That's what Aragon was about. It wasn't about Aragon. It was a recreation of the hero's journey with some morality lessons thrown in.
Yeah.
Which is why it died when he tried to extend the series by an extra book.
Yeah. Also, just a side note.
Yeah.
Man, the latest Dresden or not Dresden File, the latest good lord, I can't think.
Yeah.
The latest Drizzt book.
Yeah.
I loved it because it said it was a Drizzt book. Sneaky, it was actually Artemis, Drizzt's dad, Jarlaxle, and Catti fuck off to the Arctic on their own adventure while Drizzt takes care of the kid.
Yeah, he does that pretty often.
No, I know. I'm just saying I love it because it was one of the this is Drizzt book. Drizzt is like 5% of the book.
Oh, what was the first book that he did? That was that the Wolfgar book.
I think so.
The entire book was about Wolfgar, and then right at the end, it's like, who is this elf with the twin swords?
Who's this fucking punk ass elf? This is about an angry man with an axe.
I thought I was reading about dark elves. Well, you are. Except, hold on. Let me write an entire fucking book to introduce this character. Oh, is he gonna be important later? Oh, a little bit.
Maybe. But yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah.
They're also actually going to like a lot of trouble to be like, look, not all of the drow are evil. Side note, like that was like one of the coolest payoff things, and it makes me sad that we're no longer in 3.5 because, man,
Bro, you read the Wood Elf, the prequel to the Wood Elf series, right?
yeah, yeah, but okay, but like Sneaky, imagine how kick-ass the campaign book for everything that happened in the last like 6 Drizzt books is, where
yeah.
you're literally kicking Lolth out of Menso and Xanaran.
Yeah, that's the coolest shit ever. I got into Drizzt, and I finished Drizzt up until the Neverwinter Kings arc, I believe. And then I was like, okay, well, I finished Drizzt. Is there any other books like Drizzt? And that's when I found out that Salvatore just casually inducted an entire cult of authors to write side stories to his universe. I'm like, what the fuck? Okay.
Hey, if you want a great set of books, what is that tiefling woman's name? Oh shit, keep going. Yeah, hold on. I gotta find the books. But...
And then I stumbled across the prequel to the Wood Elves, I guess you call it the Chess Masters arc or something, where all of the drow deities were playing this game of metaphorical chess, and they were like backstabbing each other as they played this quote-unquote chess game where each chess piece was representative of one of their heroes. And they would be like, oh yeah, well, I moved my knight to take your rook, and then like the combat would happen. It's like, meanwhile in the real world, this is what ended up happening. And it's like each drow deity is defeated one by one, having all teamed up on Lolth, and she only realized it too late, but she beats them all anyway. And then she's like super smug in the end, and she's like, ha ha ha, you thought you all really could team up against me and win. And then the fucking wood elf, elder god just kind of casually walks in and is like, you up for another game? And just is like, yo! It's like, oh,
that whole thing was great. The Farida,
the
tiefling girl, Farideh.
Yeah.
That's a really great set.
Yeah.
It's like 5 books. It's quite good.
Yeah, but honestly, the side stories really are an absolute treat.
Also, listen, if you haven't, do yourself a favor, go read literally anything that has to do with who's the old archmage? The one who's banging Mistra.
Oh, fucking Elminster.
Elminster. Go read all the Elminster books. Listen, Elminster is what I love about a wizard. Incredible magician. Petty bullshit. Elminster, why are you preparing polymorph? I'm gonna fuck some bitches.
Oh,
what?
That one, I forget what book
You
it was,
heard me.
but it was the Forgotten Realms. It was a side story for Salvatore, I believe. And where there's 2 wizards in the party, and they spent all their prepared spells on trying to show off and one-up each other in the middle of the giant battle.
I know what you're talking about. I can't remember.
And they like get like halfway through the battle, and then they're like, quickly, do the spell! And they're like, I can't! I spent all my reagents already! Having a fucking dick contest with the other wizard!
Listen, my favorite part about the wizards in Forgotten Realms is how casually they do, like, Greek mythology level sexual escapades.
They're fucking bards.
All of that, like, and what did you do? I went to the 9 hells. Were you trying to rescue someone? Obtain arcane knowledge? I wanted some demon titties.
What? I got some demon titties.
Understandable.
But you're the queen of an entire country. Demon titties.
Dab. Yeah. It was good shit.
No, like, or you don't understand. Like, I wish I was joking.
It's so
like,
fucking great.
Like,
Also, Jarlax can actually be summed up as the guy that literally dabbed on everyone.
Oh god, yes. Like...
Lamau betrayed! Listen. Dab! Lamau betrayed! Dab! You thought I was working for you? JK, I'm not! I'm working for myself! Dab!
Aha! You thought I was working for the good of everyone! And I was! But I was also working for me! Dab!
You thought I only had 9 magic items? Joke's on you! My toes have rings on them!
You thought I was out of goo wands, eh, boy? I'm never out of goo wands.
Fucking
could you please relocate that goo wand?
Jarlax is literally the 3.0 character, and he is the reason why attunement was added to the game.
Oh god, yes. He's the reason attunement exists.
Alright, so describe Jarlax to me. Well, he's wearing about 13 magic belts.
He has a magic hat, a magic cape. Oh, on his magic hat, he has a magic bird feather. He has at least 2 magic steeds, a bag of holding.
Portable
He
hole.
has a bag, or he has a portable hole. He has at least 17 different wands. He has bracers that make infinite magic throwing knives. Oh wow, that's a lot. Are you done? I'm
No.
like a third through.
Yeah, I'm like a third through. Yeah, it's just like Jesus Christ. He was like wearing 2 capes too. It wasn't just 1 cape. It was like 2 to 3 capes, just at
No,
different
it
angles.
was a long cape, and then he had hidden like a shoulder cape under the long cape.
He was so fucking excessive. He's like, he was the guy
Okay,
who was
no, hang on,
like, I
Sneaky,
am gonna
Sneaky,
fit
go pull up the
every
official
magic
art for
item.
this flamboyant motherfucker.
I'm
Like, you
gonna
have to
fit-
go pull up the official art of this flamboyant jackass.
I'm gonna fit every single magic item on me possible.
And
Oh
even
wow, they
some that
nerfed him.
aren't.
Oh, this is lame. They nerfed him in this.
Yeah, because that's 5e. Go look at the 4e. I think it's 4e that we want. I mean, that one's not bad, but yeah. Yeah, no, 4e's the
We're
one
getting
we want.
closer. Oh, wait. Is that all the pictures of him? Fucking
No,
where's
that's the one we want. That's the one of him being the most flamboyant jackass in existence.
Yeah, he was very flamboyant. Oh, that's unfortunate. I can't find the picture of him because, like, when he was originally described, like, I can understand why they really toned down the art of him, but he's like originally described as just like this dude was just wearing everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Everything.
Zero style just did not. Check. Maybe the images will have it. Like maybe
I
you
just
back
checked.
out. And go to
I just
Google.
checked the gallery.
No, I'm saying you back out and go to
wait.
like Google and just hit images.
4E, 2E. 2E is closer. 2E is like the closest we got going on.
I mean, 2e is not bad, but it's a little like it's a little too much edge. But I mean, that's 2e for you.
That is 2E for you. No, that's Artemis.
I mean, listen, there's nothing wrong with Artemis, but
A lot of people are really horny for Jarlax, which is understandable because they're supposed to be, because that's
I
what
was
he
gonna
was
say,
written
given
to
the
be
way
like.
that he is written, that is how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, well, this is a little bit more accurate. So every single bit of this on him is enchanted. All 7 necklaces enchanted.
Yes.
It's like,
all those bags enchanted. Those bracers enchanted.
the wraps around the bracers also enchanted.
The feather in the hat enchanted. The hat enchanted. The eye patch enchanted. The little gold sigil enchanted.
Literally just like, oh yes, here's him being flamboyant because that was the joke. Yeah.
I think some of the ones at the top are a better example of what he like actually looks like. But like,
yeah. Also, there was literally a plot point where he was like, "Oh, this eye patch? You thought I was blind in this eye? Psych, bitch!"
this is just my anti-mind reading eye patch.
This guy sounds like an absolute badass.
Oh, listen, he's fantastic.
He wakes up, he's like, today the eye patch is going on my left eye.
And it'll be there for 6 months.
Oh god, Jarlax was great. And that's how you create an excessive character and have the community enjoy him, instead of the shit we get these days.
Allow
where it's
him
like,
to have fun.
Super serious, I have every power, and I'm like hardcore, grim, derpy, edgy angst because I was betrayed in my previous life. So despite the fact that I'm basically godkin now, I'm gonna be really depressive and angry at everyone.
Like, Sneaky, you want to talk about people who had nothing becoming the hero? Oh god, what was it? It was a 3.5 story. Oh, come on.
You're gonna have to give me more to work with.
Yeah, I know. Human paladin could not become a paladin. Eventually became a paladin. Found the whatever. What was the super cool paladin sword that was like have 10,000 casts of smite evil as a 10th level spell?
Well, the only one I can think of is I think it was the half orc, half giant, who was too stupid and couldn't become a paladin. But what he ended up doing was he was really good at smithing, and so he was so good at smithing that eventually the god of smithing blessed him, and he became a paladin in the name of god of the smithing. And he ultimately did like a Iron Giant maneuver where he sacrificed himself to like save a city or something.
Yeah, that was it.
And they they named him like the archpriest of that god of smithing in his name, and like he actually went on to become raised by the god of smithing to be like his like lieutenant or something. It was actually a good story. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, 3.5 was fun because you could just do stupid shit like that.
Certainly sounds amazing.
Yeah, because back in the day, classes had requirements that you could only bypass. Well, certain requirements could be bypassed, but classes had requirements,
and pretty much only at character creation.
Yeah, at character creation was the only time that some of the class requirements could be bypassed. But if you wanted to multi-class into, like, say, Paladin as a fighter, you actually had to meet certain requirements. Like, you actually had to have your religion check score be, like, plus 10. Which sounds a lot for 5e, but plus 10 just meant, like, 5 levels of the fighter putting all of his points into his religion.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, he had to have, like, plus 10 religion, and like he had to meet a certain strength or constitution or wisdom requirement, and he had to meet certain requirements of like knowing how to use heavy armor, and you know he's got to have a faith already, and he's got to have a blessed icon, and like he's got to have all these requirements. But if you had all that, you could just level up into the paladin, and then if you took enough levels of Paladin, because this is 3.5 planned for all of this, if you took enough levels of Paladin, you would eventually be able to level up into a Paladin Prestige class that would then say, take all the levels you put into Fighter and add it to your Paladin level for the purpose of spells and other shit that are based on Paladin level.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, that was the entire point of, Mystic Knight.
Yeah. And so it was really cool because the game didn't punish you for multiclassing beyond just saying you're going to get less XP if you multiclass as a non-human.
Also, by saying you will be weaker than other people initially.
Until you prestige class, at which point you're going to be around as strong or a little bit stronger.
And you will get some cool stuff.
Yeah. It was honestly really cool. It's really fun, and yeah, I mean, it gave DMs a hard time. I will admit that. It did give DMs a hard time trying to balance around that sort of thing. Which the solution that DMs came up with was just you level up when I say you level up, and you can't go farming for wolves on your off time. Because I'm not going to sit there and try and calculate do you remember the whole egg scenario back in the Dunev campaign, Gray, with Lupine?
Oh, that fucking shit.
That is what players normally did in their downtime between sessions in 3.5. That's like that was the average thing that players it was just expected that players were going out and like killing goblins and wolves and shit to get that little bit of extra XP. Then you pestering the DM about shit like that. Like that was fairly normal. Eventually the culture kind of turned against that, and it became less about XP and more about milestones.
Well, to be fair,
For
Milestone
good
is
reason.
generally better.
Yeah, it generally is just better. So basically, what happened in the Dunev campaign is that Faceless, our DM, was trying to be funny and was like, "Oh, you found this chick that lays golden eggs, and on a 6 it lays another chick. On a 5 it's worth 2 gold. And on a 1 it turns into a demon chick that you have to kill, and you get like 10 XP for it or whatever. And it
was
lays an
some
egg every
monster.
3 hours or something. And so Lupine would constantly waste time pestering Faceless about how many eggs has the chick produced now, how much XP do I get for killing all the demon chicks, and like just constantly pestering. And because of Lupine being
Yeah, we went to
meta
Milestone.
and abusing druid mechanics, he constantly was trying to balance the party with our fights, but because he was trying to balance for the fights, he ended up giving us too much XP, so we leveled up really quickly because he was still doing XP at that point. But fortunately, playing 2 games with Lupine made him realize that doing Milestone is far superior. And now he only has to have Lupine bothering him at the end of every single session about whether they've leveled up yet, because we killed a single ghost.
Lupine is very to play with.
Yep. Wait, what the fuck? I just got pinged? I fucking muted that. What is this bullshit?
Apparently, you didn't.
No, don't ping me for anything. Fuck that shit. There's a reason why I fucking muted it. Some fucking tertiary server that I chill on Discord and occasionally pop in was like, "Hey, at everyone." I'm like, "Why the fuck is that allowed to be pinged on default?" So anyway, Harry Potter. Harry Potter and the 12th Day. All spells, enchantments, and curses have a point where they can be twisted, perverted, broken, or co-opted. This is especially true when Fae or old gods are involved. I see what they're trying to imply there, in where that human magic can get twisted by the Fae or old gods, but the way they've written it makes it sound like the magic of the Fae and old gods can especially get twisted and co-opted. For the enchantment that an old man with too many jobs and not enough time to think placed on Harry Potter and Petunia Dursley, linking them together until Harry's 7th birthday, that time was now. Oh no. I don't like where that's going. Fantasy spiritual. Enjoyable story, high potential. Blah blah blah. Worried. Blah blah blah. Cliffhanger Harry. Okay, so basically, nothing. That's a fighting game ad based. All right, what's the grammar? Oh, Jesus Christ!
Oh, I'm getting some kind of ad for Amazon or something. I'm not sure.
I just got another Jack in the Box. I didn't know they still made those.
What do you mean? Like the toy?
No. Oh, the food chain.
What?
What do you mean still made those? Like, yeah, it's still a food chain.
I haven't seen a commercial for that thing in 5 years now.
Ray, do you watch commercials?
Yes. I have my TV on basically 24/7.
Alright, fair enough. Anyway, are your ads done? Or is
Yes.
your
Yes, the
I
ads
can
have
now
ceased.
see this
is
hell.
the money I'll never get done?
Yes.
What is this wall?
Yeah. Yep. Paste. So, I'm not even going to bother reading this. So we have a wall of text here. Also going to mention we have brackets going on here for some apparent reason. Don't know why the author thought that would be a good idea. We have a slash in fictional narrative. You don't do that either.
There's so much just wrong with this.
Blah blah, but linking them together, 17th birthday. It was 1982 when this. Wait. It was 1982 when the 17th birthday arrived? Or.
So much wrong
It
with
was
this.
1982. Oh, okay, so. The author is not quite good at subject linking. So, the author says that the magic was placed on Harry, linking Petunia and Harry together until Harry's 17th birthday. He then says it was November 2nd, 1982, when this point arrived. What he's talking about is at which point the magic became permanent or malleable to the Fae, because he mentioned that a couple sentences earlier.
Yes. But
he didn't link these two statements. He was just like, the magic was cast on Harry, but it arrived a year late. It's like, what? Huh? Yeah, fucking snail mail? Snail mail some magic to someone?
Sneaky, the ultimate way to send a curse.
Indeed. Is that what the snail challenge is truly about?
Yes.
This was precisely a year and a day after Petunia took Harry in, blah blah blah. Crying, blah blah blah, 3 times, blah blah blah. Playpen. Vernon, Ireland, face-to-face sales as both a successful salaryman and father of toddlers. Company had no qualms about allowing him to take his family. Blah blah blah. So Ireland, blah blah blah. As she had done last year, since having the children, Petunia leaves the front door for her home open while she kisses Vernon goodbye. Normally this wouldn't be a problem, as both boys have learned to walk. Vernon leaves breakfast. Ireland, Vernon is able to leave later. Glint of golden light, back and forth. Harry giggles as he sees the light, and he goes to chase it. Dudley cries, distracting Petunia. No one notices Harry's missing. Blah blah blah. Harry keeps chasing the will-o-wisp. Blah blah blah. He's out in the fields, falls into
And
a
he
fairy.
dies.
Yep, he dies out in the fields. A child kidnapper got him, sliced his head off, and they found his body 10 years later. Dark secret of Harry Potter. If you line up the first capital letter of the first 3 chapters in J.K. Rowling's book, you actually get the grid coordinates to where she's buried the bodies.
I knew it.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, he finds a fairy circle, enters the fairy circle, ends up in a fairy fort called Cafaglia. Right behind it, Harry runs in, blah, 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 golden light, blah, blah, blah. Normally, this is where a toddler would have stopped and looked confused. This would have been true of Harry as well. However, it is a year and a day to the minute since he was taken in by Petunia, and they were both instantly ensnared by the enchantment. On this day, at this time, Harry runs into the center of the fort, and just before the first rays of sunlight can touch the courtyard, he follows the light around the corner and finds a primeval forest. The golden light turns into a person and then giggles at him. Harry, being a toddler, giggles back and tries to catch the fairy. I don't understand. I don't understand.
Yeah, I've
Like-
just searched that fort. It's in Ireland.
Of course, it's in Ireland.
Yes, but it's a fairy fort now in magical Ireland.
Yeah, I'm just going. How did he cross the sea?
Oh, earlier it said Vernon takes them to Ireland.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, missed that part.
Yep. I'm more confused as to the emphasis the author placed on this section here about how before the light hit the courtyard, Harry was hit by this magic. The magic that said Harry and Petunia were linked until Harry's 17th birthday. I don't know how these two statements are somehow important to each other. Like, or like, this is the problem with writing obscure lore into your fanfiction or fictional story. This could apply to a original fiction as well, where you're like, oh yes, and the light, before the light touched the courtyard, the enchantment struck true, so Harry kept on running. We're just supposed to know that what was supposed to happen if the enchantment didn't occur? Like, don't get me wrong.
Harry would grow 4 sizes and instantly become a man.
Yeah, I guess. But like, don't get me wrong. It can be interesting. It can be an interesting plot hook if you do it right. But this is literally the opening part of the chapter, and you haven't established anything yet. And you're kind of just like, oh, look at this great bait! And we're just kind of like, where's the bait? You haven't casted it in yet. Can't just dangle the bait over the water. You have to actually throw the bait into the water. And then we just shift over to the fairy's perspective. Mortals, blah, blah, blah. Shame it's a baby. He's probably gonna die. Human laughter. And then, do the rays of sunlight land in the center of the fort, preventing her from going back there? I don't... Alright. I guess.
Sure.
If you say so, author. And Harry keeps trying to catch her. She continues to leave the child on a merry dance, blah, blah, blah. Chasing the fairy. Then he falls asleep. Vines form a basket for him. Red cap licking its lips. Foul creature, urgent business. Leave the child behind. I want to eat him. No, fuck you. Blah, blah, blah. Enters the house of Morrigan. Who dares disrupt me? Blah, blah, blah. I have a baby with me. Here, have it. Why are you bringing this to me? Well, you see, it followed me through a fairy circle, and it was sunrise, so I couldn't get back through it anymore. Harry wakes up, says "Mama" before falling asleep. Oh wow. Okay, we're really going this angle then. Okay.
Honestly, it's just boring me.
Holy shit. Okay, so I'm not going to skip through this part because this is the important bait that the author has finally dipped into the water. With a gesture, the basket moves from behind Ephes and moves over to the Morgan. When it arrives, she reaches through the leaves and lifts out Harry. Sleepily, he wakes out and grasps at her while saying "Mama," before falling asleep again. You see, the magic surrounding Harry was created by love, sacrifice, and wild magic, and then it was perverted through forbidden blood magic by the old man. And then it was anchored to a squib and a baby. Move this on the most special day of days of the summer solstice, and settle on one Harry he just called her mother. So basically what the author's trying to say is that all of these convenient factors that were not a factor in canon, all of these convenient factors in his AU just happen to line up to make the Morrigan Harry's magical mother.
Why not just say she's a goddess? She can do that shit anyway.
Why not just say that the goddess felt the moment of whimsy and took the kid in? That's
Or
not...
the goddess Morrigan saw the fact that he had two souls and was like, "Yo, that's fucking weird. I kind of want to see where this goes."
Oh, that's fucking weird. Let's see what's up there, lads.
Yeah, keep in mind, this is Faye we're talking about, looking at something weird and new and different and going, "Ha, that's mine now," is something they are known for.
They absolutely would do that, and not give a fuck about the consequences because they're Fae.
Yeah.
Consequences are tomorrow me's problem.
No, sometimes quite literally.
Matter.
What are you gonna do? Yell at him?
Yes.
What is future me gonna do? Come back and yell at me?
Blah blah.
Yeah. Yes, probably. Sometimes, maybe.
Very likely.
Some sort of Dumbledore Harry monitoring device explodes into different colors and autumn colored ravens. And then in Ireland, Petunia's like, "Oh well, we can't find Harry. He must have died," and then they move on with their lives.
Understandable.
Yes.
That part's the most
Also,
realistic.
apparently at some point, Harry stripped naked.
As one does.
The Morgan looks down at the child and is like, "Yo, shit, this child just called me mom. I guess I'm the mom now."
I mean, alright, that's pretty Faye.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Implicit with the event, it's a duty to raise the child and protect them. Compared to her other obligations, the weight of this one is negligible but noticeable, a clear drain on her reserves. Well, it's been a few centuries since I've last had a changeling. She draws a dagger out. With a brief effort of will, the breast starts to lactate.
Wait, hang on. How is that connected to a dagger?
Then she draws the dagger across her areolae and starts feeding him blood and milk.
I'm concerned.
I'm not touching that.
I don't want to know.
And then she's like, "You, fairy who brought this child to me, you're gonna swear yourself to him. You will be, he will know your true name, and you will literally be his servant."
Fuck that.
Alternative solution, I will take your blood and bind you and your existence as payment for settling a debt upon me with this child. Alright, I guess. Kind of forced, but alright. Ephes swallows, swears herself to the child until he is grown. A ring appears outside of his iris, as fresh as blood. Another ring appears around his pupil, the color of raven feathers. I name you Ivor, you're my son now. Blah blah blah. The
Yeah,
fairy collapses. You will return to human realm, places simulacrum hidden in the forest, and that's where everyone thinks he's dead. Okay, so that's why they found him dead of hypothermia and naked. Is because they placed a simulacrum child there to die in his name. Blah blah. So yeah, it's the first chapter. On one hand, didn't do too great why in the narrative explaining why certain things were important. Yeah, he later on had the fairy be like, oh, well, you see, because the sunlight crossed over, I can't go back anymore. But you wasted valuable narrative time to point out that the sunlight crossed over when you were talking about the baby running through the area, which meant nothing to us, which then you led in to the fairy who knows what that means, then explaining in the narrative, oh, well, the sunlight crossed over, so I can't go back now, when you really only needed to have her look back and go, oh no, the sunlight crossed over, I can't take them back now.
Yeah, well, have them run across and then get through, hear the sound of a giggling child, and go, oops, that's not supposed to have followed me. Ah, shit, the sun.
Right, yeah. Like, basically my point being is that they're trying to, like, dangle this, like, Chekhov's gun bait of, like, ooh, this is gonna mean something, and then they not only immediately explain it, but the explanation and the pacing of it completely negate that entire earlier narrative focus on this whole event.
Yeah.
So that's... Which, don't get me wrong, this is good criticism for me to give, because that means that their story wasn't horribly mangled.
I would say, we're not sitting here saying, oh my god, I couldn't even make it through chapter 1.
Yeah, we're not sitting here saying, oh geez, you know, this person needs to go back to first grade English. Now, I will say...
At least we're not talking about supple child flesh.
Yes, that is true. We're not talking about supple child flesh. I will say there is some different parts that need some improvement in understanding of pacing. There's also minor narrative quibbles, like you don't use brackets in fictional narrative. Period. Ever. You don't use brackets.
Yeah.
Period. Unless you're trying to be like, oh, you know, this is a spell name, or... You know, this is like you're specifically pointing out a proper noun of something, and you're trying to emphasize it. I guess you can get away with using brackets then. But,
or if you're typing out like a letter or something that's written involving it.
I guess, but even then, honestly...
Admittedly, you probably shouldn't be writing out the letter verbatim anyway.
Yeah, but also at the same time, pretty much every example I'm giving where you could use brackets to add emphasis to the word, you really should just be using italics anyway.
Yeah. But all that aside...
Yeah, you don't use italics here. You don't use fucking semicolons. I fucking hate this shit. People using semicolons in goddamn fictional narrative writing. That shit don't fly, son. How the fuck do you read a semicolon? It is between a pause and a stop. What's the difference between a pause and a stop? How long you pause for? What's the halfway point between a pause and a stop? Fucking nothing.
Yeah.
It's the yellow light of punctuation.
Yellow light of punctuation. That's a new one.
Am I wrong?
I didn't say you were wrong. I said that's a new one, Sneaky.
Actually, the fucking comma is the yellow light of punctuation. But still, point being is I was more referring to how people treat yellow lights than the actual function of the yellow light, and that people see a yellow light and they either stop or they go.
Slam that pedal to the floor.
Or they fucking go. There's no in between there. So, the semicolon is words created by love, sacrifice, and wild magic. Period. Perverted through the forbidden blood magic by a doddering old man. This, because the period's there now, you now have to turn perverted through forbidden blood magic. You have to turn that into an actual full sentence now, which you then lets you capitalize on the fact that it's a full sentence now to add in some descriptive narrative about the person casting it, aka Dumbledore in this instance. Whether he was a fool, or overworked, or, arrogant. You can slip that shit in. But no, you used a fucking semicolon because you thought you were better than everyone. And so you have this fucking monstrosity abomination of a sentence where you're kind of just like, ooh, look how cool I am.
I would say, you know what? All that being said, you know what? I would go and read chapter 2.
That's fair. I will say, they did save themselves by the end of the chapter. They did save themselves enough to be like, okay, well, chapter 2 might not be too bad.
Yeah, right. They got enough of me to go, you know what? We'll look at chapter 2.
Oh, that's frustrating. Let me open chapter 2 as another fucking tab. I swear to fucking God sometimes. This goddamn website. There. So shockingly, 27k words, 27 chapters, 77k words. Updated over the span of the past month. So I will give credit where credit's due. He's got a hustle going for word count. He's got a hustle going for update rate. Unfortunately, that summary isn't a good one. It's not a good one because of what it implies to the audience. You really don't want to start your story, the first introduction you have to your story, you really don't want to say in the Harry Potter section, yes, you see, the whole premise of this story is built off of the idea that Harry and Petunia are soul bonded until he's 17. That is not a good way to introduce the reader to your story, even if the fake out was good and ultimately the build-up paid off. There's a reason why this dude has only 68 favorites, despite his massive word count, despite how often he updates, and despite the surprising spag quality and pacing quality of the story. There is a reason why he has only 68 favorites, and part of that reason is him going, hey guys, wanna read a story about Harry Potter and Petunia Dursley having a soul bond? To which everyone justifiably recoils in disgust. Because everyone knows the Harry Potter section, and the word soul bond and Petunia Dursley are not good words to have in the same sentence.
Nope.
Albus Potter and the Next Generation. Albus Potter, son of Harry Potter and twin brother of Potter start at Hogwarts for first year. All 7 years will be this story. AU will diverge from canon. There's a canon? No.
I think they are calling the cursed child canon.
Oh!
Oh.
Why?
Fuck if I know.
Why have I been pinged?
They must be perished.
Why have I been pinged? Oh.
I've been pinged about Little Alchemy.
Yes.
Unsurprising.
Yes. Okay. Alright. We're good. The seventh Horcrux, presence of the foreign soul, may have unexpected side effects on a growing child. I'm Lord Voldemort. Well, no, actually, I'm Harry Potter. I'm Harry Potter. In which Harry Potter is definitely insane, Hermione is a Dark Lady in training, Ginny is a minion, and Ron is generally confused about it all. This is actually a good Harry Potter story. I am blown away, however, by its stats. So I've started following this story back in 2016.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I started following the story back in 2016. It had a lot less favorites and follows back then. It is now currently sitting at 10,000 favorites and 5,000 follows. And 1919 reviews. Also, wait, that's right. 7th Horcrux finished. Why did it update? Oh. I'm going to be posting Rose Wesley and the Rebirth of Slytherin. Bits and bobs from 7th Horcrux sequel that I no longer intend to write, but I have several thousand words worth. I'm going to be posting it on my AO3 account.
I mean, fair enough. Better than dragging out the story with a dead sequel.
A dead sequel that also that was pretty poorly planned out from all what I remember. We're in the Harry Potter section, so we have the obligatory quarter ass. Let's see, the one and the same. Jaded from decades of abuse and neglect, a young Harry Potter starts a new life in a world of magic. A new life in which he is wary of those around him, closed off to everyone except Ginny, who is the exact same as him. Independent Harry Potter. Independent Harry and Ginny. Negative renditions of everyone else. So apparently in this AU of theirs, Ginny was also abused, tortured, forced to cook for the whole family, and, you know, left to rot inside a small closet for most of her life. Wait, Ginny, that's not Ginny's backstory? Oh, shit. That's weird. How is she the same as Harry, then? Damn. Wild. Shit be wildin'. So we got Thought. Oh, that's an author name. Oh. Oh, these are some author names that I'm certain people regret. I hope they do at least. So we have The Fall of the Phoenix by If Only I Were a Weasley.
Oh boy.
This story will be books 1 through 3. In the course of a single night, Phoenix Potter goes from leading a normal life as the daughter of Harry and Ginny Potter. You named your daughter Phoenix.
That is retarded even for them.
Sneaky, look, my fine arts teacher named their child Cyrus Indigo.
Okay,
Insert last name.
Okay, first off, you said the words fine arts teacher, which means they were obviously going to be overly dramatic, whiny, and excessive in anything they do.
No, she was actually pretty chill. Like,
except for the fact that she named her child Cyrus Indigo.
As I said, everything else was pretty chill. She was very kind, very polite, pretty laid back.
It's also possible that she just had her professional persona, and then she had her her insanity locked behind that.
That's also possible.
So anyway, Phoenix Potter can have to being a central figure in a brewing war with gods, prophecies, and new magic coming to play. Phoenix must learn. Phoenix. God fucking damn it.
All I can think of is Demolition Man.
Objection.
Yeah, I was gonna say, all I can think of is fucking Phoenix Wright. Phoenix must learn to navigate exactly the sort of world her parents have always fought to protect her from. Featuring Minerva McGonagall, Luna Lovegood, OC, and Fred Weasley II. Wait, is Fred Weasley II really a canon character now? Are you fucking for real?
I hope not.
Thus, it had to be looked at.
$16 chapters. 100
Okay.
is real.
Oh, okay, I decided to open up one and the same.
Oh.
Less than 2,000 words. You know, it's in less than two.
Shadow?
Oh, he's gone.
The British wanted to silence him.
Understandable.
He knew too much.
He knew too much. So less than 2,000 words?
And it's already gotten to them basically being together.
That might be a new record, honestly. That might actually be a new record. Anyway, yeah, so the stats on this one are impressive. I'm gonna be real with you. So 16 chapters. We got 192,000 words, which means over 10k words per chapter. So we're sitting at about maybe 12k words per chapter. Very impressive. You guys ready for the rest of the very impressive update numbers?
No.
141 reviews. 29 favorites. First published 2015.
Good God.
That's sad.
Woo!
You know, as somebody with a very sporadic update rate, I can understand it taking that long.
Yeah, but you didn't go forward being like, yo, I'm gonna go rewrite the Harry Potter series with my entire OC cast. That's what this author set out to do from the start.
Okay.
Yeah. Looks like large majority of the reviews are by this one Nightwing dude.
Why have you sullied the name of my favorite Robin?
That Robin has been sullied long ago.
Also,
Mostly by Starfire.
Very amusing here. Chapter 23 from multiple reviewers. So glad to see this story is back. April 30th, 2017.
Ouch.
He has released 6 chapters in the time frame between chapter 23 and chapter 29 over the course of the past 5 years. Yes, this story is back. Guest reviewer. Oh my. It's a lot of guest reviewers. Man, it is just fucking Nightwing reviewing every single chapter as it comes out. And we also have Scrumptious Internet Llama, who is
a name.
Oh So Random Lamau Uwu Reviews. XD. I'm so silly. I wish I was kidding, but there's literally an XD.
Yeah, I saw.
I refuse to look.
Jesus Christ. What is this guest reviewer? Oh my god. What the fuck is this going? This next review. Story. Next review. Is. Next review. 1. Next review. Of. Next review. My. Next review. Favorite. Next review. Fanfiction. Next review. Stories. Next review. The. Next review. Giant. Next review. Entire. Next review. Beautiful. Next review. Endless. Next review. Amazing. Next review. Universe.
These reviews sound endless.
Yeah. I would just like to point out, in a form of peak irony, despite the fact that this guest reviewer is proclaiming to the stars that this is their most favorite fanfiction story ever, it still was not good enough for them to sign up with a free account to favorite this story. A free account. Wait, didn't you guys joke about rewriting canon but add shit like YouTube song links? You're gonna have to give me context on that one, man. I say a lot of shit when I'm drunk.
You say a lot of shit at full stop.
That's fair. Under the Half Moon. Post CC. Cursed Child? You're writing post Cursed Child content? Oh my god. Oh my fucking god. Just the sheer niche factor of this story. So we're gonna start off. Post-Cursed Child content. Family romance. Albus times Scorpius. The children. They're gay. The children are gay for each other.
I mean, I don't see any problems with that. What could possibly go wrong?
One night, the boys come face to face with another child. I don't like where this is going. Please don't be child pornography. and in need of a new normal. But the gay couple will soon find out that the little boy they found is anything but normal. Albus and Scorpius raise Teddy Lupin.
Well, I suppose it's understandable why it's got so few in the so little in the way of stats.
It's got 3 reviews, 3 favorites, 4 follows, 4 chapters, 13,000 words, updated over the course of the entire month. So post-Cursed Child fanfic involving gay children grooming an even younger child. Only in the Harry Potter section, folks. Only in the Harry Potter section.
That says far too much.
Oh boy. Summer. The 8th year students that would return to Hogwarts in a week. Hermione has spent summer researching a way to restore her parents' memories. She discovers a spell that releases their suppressed magic, but when she does a trial run on herself, a new magic emerges. What was come, she had no idea, but she knew she couldn't survive it alone. Alpha, Beta, Omegaverse Awakening, Hermione times Draco.
What in the
Oh,
love of God did I come back to?
let's put it this way.
You guys picked some real fucking awful times to enter into the conversation.
I
Simply
went downstairs to retrieve my laundry.
Simply including the word Omegaverse in a summary is an immediate nope.
Apparently, from what I'm getting from this summary, Hermione is working out a spell to restore her parents' memories. And the spell does this by awakening the suppressed magic inside the person. And so Hermione, in her infinite genius, decides to cast this spell on herself, despite her magic not being suppressed, so I'm not really sure how she would be able to tell if the spell awoke her suppressed magic or not, because her magic wasn't suppressed. It's like giving someone, I don't know, cancer medicines to see if their cancer goes away when they don't have cancer in the first place.
I would say that's a pretty good way to give someone cancer.
Actually, it is, yes.
We're going to subject you to chemotherapy.
But I don't have anything wrong with me.
You will soon.
Oh God!
Give it a few hours.
Yeah, but it's just like, oh yes, I'm gonna take this medication that's supposed to kill blood-sucking parasites. All right, so how do you know if it's gonna work? Well, what do you mean? Well, you're gonna like put a blood-sucking parasite on you to see if it kills it? No, I was casting on myself to see what happens. But you don't have any blood-sucking parasites on you, so how are you supposed to know if it's gonna work or not?
Like 17 things fall off of them.
Their fucking nose falls off.
Oh God, you look like
oh no, it's Voldemort.
But
Voldemort, ooh, Voldemort.
But yeah,
he says nose falls off. I said no.
So
it's Voldemort.
she casts it on herself, and it unsuppresses her hidden magic inside her, and this causes a new magic to erupt in the world called the Alpha, Beta, Omegaverse magic, which makes everyone into an Alpha, Beta, or Omega.
Wait, are you actually serious?
100%.
Son of a bitch! I thought you were just shit posting on that.
No, he's really not.
That's sad.
I wish I fucking was. How about a death canoe? It's summer between the 6th and 7th years at Hogwarts, and Rose Granger Weasley, cringe, pathetic, beta cuck Ron Weasley.
What?
I would like you to never repeat those words.
I just have a really low opinion of men that let their wives not take their name.
Look,
It
based
just-
on what you just said, I assumed those were just tags for the
Oh,
story.
oh no, I was just insulting Ron.
I see.
Yeah. No, if you marry someone and they don't take on your name, you're just a bitch. You're a pathetic bitch. You might as well not even have married the person.
I was gonna say, there's like 3 exceptions to that.
Well, yeah, when you marry into nobility, but like that's not really even a thing anymore. So.
Or if they're ultra famous. Like, if they're ultra famous, you're the
Oh
one who
yeah,
changes name.
sure. If you marry a Kardashian, you're likely going to be taking the Kardashian name. But you know that's basically the new nobility.
Yeah.
But
We just have to separate it because there is technically still some nobility left.
I suppose, yeah, that's true. But yeah, if you're both fucking peasants and your wife doesn't take your name, you're just a bitch. You fold like wet paper. You deserve to be cucked because you will be in the future. Rose Granger Weasley looks forward to introducing her boyfriend, Scorpius Malfoy, to the muggle pastime of canoeing. This is based on a real-life experience I had. There's a lot I can say to that, and I'm just not. But we're just gonna keep going. We have Dragon Tamers. When his life starts to fly off the rails, 2 witches with a firm hand bind him and bring him to heel before he does something capital D dangerous. Now he has someone to fight for, and can he win, or will he lose everything? Well, obviously he wins. It's a porn story. Coven story. Albus Dumbledore bashing. Adult themes present. So they're gonna have sex. It's a Harry Potter times everyone's favorite highly backstoried characters, Daphne Greengrass and Tracy Davis. You know, those characters that had all of like 2 dialogue lines in the entire series.
Did they even have that much?
Collectively.
No, even collectively, did they have that much?
I believe in the movie they did.
That doesn't count.
Yes, it does. Rowling directed that movie, it counts.
Rowling can fuck off.
Well, she's trying to. Honestly, there was a time period where I did read Daphne Greengrass stories, if only so I could read something that wasn't the cringe-ass, nay Harry Potter flossing on Fortnite shit, where he, like, gets the jubillion powers because his bloodline's been secretly suppressed by Alberdor, secretly Hitler Dumbledore. And the helpful goblins with the power of Daphne Greengrass pointing out obvious things to him. You know, that was kind of cool for a while, where, you know, Daphne swings in and is like, hey, instead of stupid ass retard powers and helpful goblins and a bunch of other cringe tropes, how about I just say words that literally anyone can say to you? And I thought that was kind of cool for a while. And then I realized
It got overdone.
Yeah,
And she has no character.
Yeah, and then I realized that people were taking this whole Daphne Greengrass thing a little bit too seriously. And I was like, okay. I'll just see myself out. The trouble starts. Oh boy. Melody Fox, spelt with 2 X's, is a late bloomer. Her magic didn't make itself known until she was 13. Navigating a new school is hard enough without the Malfoy family drama. What has she gotten herself into? I'll spend the first couple chapters introducing everything, and then we'll jump to year 6.
Oh.
What?
What? What? What the fuck does the Malfoys have anything to do with Miss Muggle-born Melody Fox and the blatant OC?
Bless.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Like, damn, the Harry Potter section has really fallen. Like, 16 favorites, 26 favorites, 2 favorites. That is some fucking Irish-ass gibberish. Harry veered off course from the path Dumbledore put him on. A decade-filled plan of action right under his nose, Harry became something else, all with the help of Marcus Flint. Marcus Flint grooms Harry Potter. They're gay.
Those were words.
You know, man,
We're not sober. We're too sober for
I'm
this shit.
way too fucking sober for this shit.
Cheers, bro. I can drink that.
It's a bit too late for me to start drinking with Spiritus.
Well, it's nearing the end anyway, so...
Yeah, I know. That's kind of my point. But yeah, that's like, who really wakes up and is like, you know what we need more of? We need more homosexual grooming fics in the Harry Potter section.
It's probably what they've devolved to since no one's making anything clever original now.
I mean, yes, but at the same time, is that, like, really, you woke up and you really had that thought pass through your head, and you saw nothing wrong with it. And then not only did you write it, you wrote 20k words of it. And 1,000 people favorited it. Which is possibly the most disgusting part of it all. That is just absolutely
disappointing.
It's sad.
Vomit-inducing. This is genuinely a 17-year-old homosexually grooming a 10-year-old. You know, this kind of shit actually makes me angry. Because I have to deal with people who are like, why do people keep associating pedophiles with gay people? Not all gay people are pedophiles. It's like, well, then why is it every single pedophile is gay? It's like, fucking Christ. Like, nearly every single pedophile story I have seen in the Harry Potter section has been fucking gay. This is a downstream product of the 1960s Soviet propaganda. How does the Wizarding world look at homosexuality? Well, Rowling's official stance on how the Wizarding world looks at homosexuality is that they're very accepting, and it's totally fine.
I mean, I would assume that they would like, if we ignore Rowling's stupidity, I would assume they would take like a Roman view of it.
Not only would they take a Roman view, I would say it would probably be very much in line with what I think Ruby's views on sexuality would be. Would be a mix of fuck, please fuck, have more kids, please fuck, and also at the same time, blood elitism, where certain groups of people are picking husbands and wives for their future children while they're still young, so they can marry into superiority in terms of magical power and status.
I mean, I think you're thinking Ruby would probably be a lot easier to go because negative emotions are a problem. Like,
well, no, see that's my point though. Is on one hand, homosexuality would be more accepted in a setting like Ruby, but it wouldn't be accepted in the Western way. It would be accepted in the Chinese way, which in the Chinese way is homosexuality is accepted, but they expect you to produce many children through straight sex anyway.
mm-hmm.
So it's like, yes, you can go off and fuck as many have as many homosexual side slings as possible, but you're still expected to find a husband and or wife, depending on what you are,
to do your duty,
and you're expected to reproduce, and you're expected to provide for them. What you do beyond that is your business, but you are expected to do all of the straight things anyway, regardless of your opinions. That's what I think Ruby would be more in line with. And you do have the flexibility of having the 4 nations where you can have, quite differing views, where maybe, Mistral would be more aligned with the hierarchical, selecting future, husbands and wives for each other at young age. Vacua would be more maybe just have sex with anyone you want. Vale would be more in line with Western degeneracy.
Yeah.
And Atlas would be more probably in line with the whole Soviet live long and prosper, have many children for the motherland. But regardless, Harry Potter homosexuality would probably be very much frowned upon. Because the wizards do kind of are shown constantly making an emphasis about bloodlines and family names and their low population. It does explain gods and Roman myths and their partner choices, apart from all of the animals they fucked.
Yeah. It does, actually.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Like, canonically, they were quite... You couldn't, like, walk around parading it, but, like, there were plenty of people who had a quote-unquote open secret about it.
And honestly, even Greece was a little bit more freewheeling with that. There was certain Greek city-states that leaned more on the side of the Chinese style of you can do whatever, but we still expect you to perform the sacred ritual of reproduction. Rome did lean more into the have sex with your neighbor, but also make sure to reproduce for the great Roman motherland. You owe it to your state to produce the next generation.
Yeah.
But yeah, so kind of creepy, kind of weird. The only kind of grooming like this you would see in any sort of fantasy story would be any sort of culture based on Arabia, because not Islam, mind you, Arabic specifically, the Middle Eastern cultures, not in general, but fair number of areas in the Middle East do participate in child sexual grooming of both boys and girls, depending on the area. So, if you were going to have a fantasy story where this takes place, you would be taking more from that section of the world than, say, Britain. And with that, we're going to close out the night, because that's a Severus times Hermione story, so that's another grooming story. Shockingly, not gay. But still, a grooming story. A Hermione times yeah. Uh-huh.
Would you look at that? It's time for us to stop.
Yeah. Some Bellatrix times Hermione, so an abuse romance story. A woman probably wrote this. Hermione times Draco. Yep, we're done here. Yep. Done here. Yep. We're done here. Alright, everyone. We'll see you on Friday. Because there's always more, and it always gets worse.